America. This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the walls. The chair is against the walls. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our daily gun show. We come to you live every weeknight at midnight Eastern for about an hour each night, where we have a conversation about guns. We have a couple of hosts. We got Angelina jumping in from California. Thanks for joining.
Hello.
And we got Smeggy jumping in from Michigan.
Hey, how's everyone doing tonight?
I'm down here in Tucson, and we are on episode 542. Let's see. What is today? Tuesday? So it's Second Amendment Day. I think we're going to be talking about the state of Oklahoma. Oklahoma.
Do you know any songs that have Oklahoma in it?
There's not one. There's no songs with Oklahoma written in it.
Yeah, I can't think of a single thing.
All right. Well, maybe it'll come up while we're just having a conversation.
I mean, I think we could ask, like, the deer or the antelope, but I don't know if they would know.
Because of the rain.
They might.
It's a Texas song.
That is a Texas song.
And Tucson's winning. So Vanessa Kitty says she likes Tucson. Nobody else said anything about California or Michigan. So Tucson is winning.
California is like the assumed winner, though, I think. You've been here. It's awesome.
For what? Most gun laws? You might be winning that one.
For most, just most awesome.
Most ridiculous gun laws, maybe.
Gary's saying Home on the Range is a Kansas song. So, all right. So anyway, the state will be Texas, and we will be talking about the Second Amendment. And yesterday was every second matter, so I guess we talked about it quite a bit yesterday. So do we really want to talk about it again? Is it really that important? Trick question.
Yeah, I mean,
I kind of like it.
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't hate the Second Amendment, so why not?
So we had a chat earlier in Ghosts chat about the kids in the Florida aftermath, and then a little bit about the Google today.
I'm kind of surprised that whole thing is getting as much attention as it is. It didn't seem like that big of a story. It's one of those, I think the media is just jumping on anything they can to put guns in a negative light.
Well, yeah, and it was very active shooter. I mean, they make it, I'm not like minimizing it, because obviously nobody wants things like that to happen, and that's not okay. But I'm just saying, they made it sound like pretty big.
And that's the modus operandi, or whatever, the typical scenario. They're going to jump on it like if it's the biggest thing ever, and then just walk away when it doesn't fit the perfect agenda for them, right? The perfect narrative.
Right. Yeah. Like the Massachusetts school where the armed security guy or whatever they call him, stopped a potential mass killing, and only two students were injured, and then the bad guy died. But it's like, when that happened, it was, oh yeah, that's like a thing, but we'll just ignore that for a while.
Yeah,
so
and also
that goes against their narrative that, hey, guns, good people with guns can stop bad guys.
We don't like that truth bomb.
So,
well, I was talking to him earlier, and it was a diverse panel, new people chatting, people I hadn't chat with very often at all. So, it's a different group, different conversation, and it always seems like often it goes to the plea to the appeal, I guess, to self-defense or personal protection. And someone in the chat, I think, brought up, and somebody had mentioned it, that how could someone not want to protect their self or their own, like their family. And I guess my point is I don't know necessarily that they don't want to protect their own. I think that's a natural, that's a drive that everyone has. But I don't think if I think that you can not live in fear. You could not be in fear and not perceive a threat, and then you would, not come from you wouldn't have the same common ground as someone who's trying to argue or trying to persuade you that there's an inherent right to self-protection. If you don't have that, you don't have to not have the drive to self-protect, but you can not perceive a problem. Is that a way to look at it? And then I guess my point is that if we insist on trying to get the other side to understand our position, that might be futile if they're never going to accept that there's a danger. I guess with that in mind, I would say, we have to look at, or I think it's time to look at other strategies. We don't have to do anything, but potentially at least have some more effective conversation if we were to change our tactics and not expect a result that they agree with us or change their position to ours. And, maybe we can pursue some ways to accomplish something in a conversation that isn't necessarily changing the other person's mind. Maybe throwing a point out there. We've talked about it before. You don't like guns, so you want the police to have guns? Like, do you still want the police to have guns? They're going to say yes. Who owns the police? You get to Trump, and then you say, just to be clear, then you just want Trump to have the guns, and then maybe walk away.
Well, but remember when the cops were the problem too? So they weren't supposed to have guns either, but now they can have guns, I think.
And that's what I guess my point is. If someone's seriously not going to change their position, maybe the goal of a conversation with them is just to have them clarify you only want Trump to have guns, so that you can walk away with that mic drop and let them, like I say, stew on that for a bit. Try to rationalize that, because like you say, they hate cops, they just don't admit it. And when they say they hate guns, they're really saying they hate Trump and they hate people that have a self-sufficient type of attitude on life, I think. But that doesn't all line up, because if they don't want us to have guns, by the definition, they want Trump to have all the guns to keep them from us. I don't know if that's effective or not, but at least it's something that I haven't tried before. I don't know if anybody's talked about trying something like that.
So I've never had a chance to try it in person. In fact, ever since that one dude retired, I haven't really argued face to face with someone about guns that often. But yeah, that would be an interesting tactic. I know I've heard other people saying that as well. And if nothing else, it at least, like you said, it might not change their mind completely, but it gives them something to think about. And that's one of those things that's going to kind of sink in, is that, like, on one hand, I like this. On the other hand, I don't like that. Like, how can I have these two views at the same time? Alternatively, I would say another example of that is all the people saying, well, clear backpacks are a violation of, like the right to privacy and all that.
Is that clear backpack thing real?
They definitely, yes. That school has clear backpacks.
That's not like a media story. That's not a meme. That's a real thing that these kids at that particular high school, or more than that high school, is that like a thing?
That exact high school now has clear backpacks, and the kids
in the chat earlier, and he said that they were told the first day not to bring anything to school, and then the next day they were issued clear backpacks, and he said that they're surprisingly well made, and that the kids are, like, I think in his words, as you'd expect, playing with it, doing things like putting images inside of the backpack, showing, putting things in the pockets or whatever to show their dissatisfaction with it or whatever. But yeah, definitely a thing that they did at that school to, I don't know, save lives. I don't know what they did it for.
Right. And that's where I think if that gets brought up with someone who, is saying that, like, oh, they're an anti-gun person, but they also think that, the right to privacy is important. That's at least common ground to say, you know what? Like, I completely agree. I can't stand the clear backpacks, but at least pointing out to them the hypocrisy of like, so you think that, the right to privacy is important, and you're all mad that somebody took away, what you would call your right to have a regular backpack, but you don't see any problem with taking away my right to own guns.
Well, yeah,
And
I mean,
maybe
but
that
they'll
can sink in a
say
little bit.
they're going to say that their backpacks aren't killing anyone or couldn't kill anyone, but you could say, all right, well, you could like smuggle something in with the backpack, so it's an accessory. I mean, I guess my point is that people that are anti-gun, they have an argument for all this shit. Like, it's all something that's like, okay, that's a reach, so you're really going to use that, and yes, they really are.
Well, I know, but I feel like a lot of them, again, not even like the Bloombergs and whatnots, because I think they're smart enough to know all this stuff, and they just choose to be manipulative of how they think. But there are plenty of people in the middle that they literally have not thought about it for more than 5 minutes, and it sounds good, like, yeah, just take away all the guns, that makes sense, and that's it. So at least if you can get them thinking and pointing out some of the hypocrisies, and some people are perfectly fine being hypocritical. Like, some people are like, yeah, it's good for me, and when you have it, it's bad for you. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like, they're perfectly fine living that way. I don't like doing that. I like being as consistent as possible, and I try to be. So if someone points something out to me, then I reevaluate what I was thinking. But I think there's some common ground there that can be, worked and built upon. You're never going to change someone's mind in 10 seconds necessarily, but it's a good way to, bring it back to like, okay, rights are important. I completely agree with you. This happens to be the Second Amendment, and that is a right. And, I would argue one of the most important rights, because that's the one that allows you to protect yourself and your country and your family and all that stuff.
Right.
So
anyway, yeah, I mean, I don't know. The clear backpack thing, when I first saw it, I thought, is that real? Is that fake? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, but because I saw other things that were like, some kids were going on Twitter, and I think some of the kids that were like, oh, guns, need to be banned, like some of those kids saying like, oh, so because of one person's actions, I have to give up my right to privacy or my right to have whatever backpack I want or something. And like you're saying, that's hypocrisy. So that's kind of, because of one person's actions, I lose out on my gun rights. I didn't do anything.
Hopefully that's a teaching point that the teachers at the school can focus on. Do you think they will? I mean, they like to show injustices and wrongs and stuff.
I don't know. I mean, are there any teachers that are not, bedwetting liberals anymore?
Oh, I think there are. I mean, it's easy to generalize, but
I don't think there's many.
Teachers come in all different, political flavors.
I like that you used flavors.
I don't know what else to say.
Have you ever heard that song by Van Halen, Hot for Teacher?
I have heard that song, yes.
That's what it made me think of.
Okay.
All right, well, anyway. It's getting weird in here.
But Second Amendment's cool.
So yeah, guns are cool. So yeah, so what's next?
So what do I walk away for 5 minutes and all of a sudden there's dead air?
Well, you walked away because I made basically Snowman called teachers a flavor, and then I said, have you ever heard that Van Halen song Hot for Teacher? And then it got weird, so obviously it means don't leave us unattended again.
Awkward. All right. What's Smeggy's next gun is a question that's coming from the gun chat.
Water resistant.
Yeah, I don't know. Either a lever gun or a M&P shield.
Shield.
I haven't really decided yet. It depends on if I start getting sick of carrying the CZ, because that's why I want the Shield, is to switch over to something a little bit smaller to carry. But I don't really have a problem with the CZ. It's just every once in a while it's a little bit like kind of annoying. But that's mostly when I don't have the right belt. I'm not sure how that's Second Amendment related, but either way.
I mean, we could pretend.
Yeah. And thanks to the people saying I had a good cave last night. I enjoyed it. But anyways.
I missed the cave last night.
Everyone called for it, and then the people calling for it never showed up.
I didn't even know it was happening until I came on Gun Channels.
Sent you a link. But anyways, I think we can jump into the second topic of the day.
CCW's posted a thing over on the YouTube side. If we choose to live in a free society, we have to accept there are risks. The government cannot keep everyone completely safe. I think that's pretty much a libertarian slash, right, so individual, self-reliant type of view towards it. And I don't disagree. I guess I think there's a couple of things in there to work at, angles to work at, and one would be that concept of risk, and that's the one that I think there's our side of the conversation. So I don't want to say us as a community as much as whenever we're put on the other side of the conversation, it's always like an assumption that that we're living in a more risky time, or that risk is somehow becoming more, it's more dangerous now. And that's one of those perceptions that we can all work towards removing. We have, we pay the government entities to record that stuff, and we got that information at our disposal. There literally can't be a more credible source than a, federal law enforcement that's tasked with documenting and archiving data for the country. Everything, literally, health insurance, traffic, everything is built off of that data. So it has to be considered accurate, and they don't get to ignore that. They are ignoring it. And if we continue to pick up the conversation where they drop it, walking into their ambush, assuming the things that they want us to take for granted then I think we fail. So that's one of those things that I agree with that position. And I think that one of the angles we can bring at it that's a little different is to challenge that concept that we live at risk. We live in a potential risk for sure. But that being said, we're a whole bunch of people that are nice to each other for the most part, and we live in a very free or very non-violent, non-threatening country. And they keep changing that. They keep perception.
Yeah, that's how I've described it a bunch, and that's a lot where I get my personal political beliefs about, is that I believe that the vast majority of people are generally good. And so when you have that outlook, you think if you let people do what they want, most people are going to do good things. So good stuff.
At least leave you alone, not do bad things, right?
Right.
Don't fear people just because they exist.
Right. And so to have the other side of basically saying you're basically saying you don't trust your neighbors if you're saying people shouldn't have guns. Well, why is that? Well, because people are bad guys. And so it's almost like a fundamental difference of how you look at your neighbors or your fellow Americans. But
it isn't, though. I think that's one of those things that was frustrating when I was talking to that guy in Phoenix, is he was trying to suggest that there's no reason on a firearm. And I think I was trying to eventually get to a point where I'm like, there's no fear of firearms, so you should have no fear of firearms. And I was trying to parallel with, or use the analogy, that you're not concerned with this street that we're standing next to and all the people who might or may not be driving up and down that street, their ages, their familiarity with the machine they're driving, the mechanical, soundness of that vehicle, if it's mechanically going to break and when hit us, if they're distracted, right? Like if there's some sort of a sunspot or some natural occurrence that's going to cause them to pull over into us, a big wind gust or something, we have such faith in people constantly, all the time, especially in places like California. Those people live in ultimate faith that each other are good, that they're not going to hurt each other. The speeds that drive past each other, the vicinity, the close vicinity that they live within each other, the faith that they're going to get out of the way of each other when there's an emergency vehicle rushing to the assistance of one of them. I think they have some disconnect with when the firearm comes in, and I think that's completely manipulated. There's no need for it, and that was something that I don't think had been there back in the day, and I think it was intentionally changed so that again, you can have ultimate confidence in someone's ability to drive when they're 16 or 18 or 21 or any other age. Ultimate confidence in them to I don't know, carry something heavy downstairs near you, or hold something up on a roof and not drop it on you just out of interest in seeing you get smushed. But when you bring a gun into it, all of a sudden everyone's a potential criminal and everyone's a potential violent, and even though there's no justification for that in statistics.
Right, and that's, I guess, the problem though I see is how do you get that through to someone though, other than just pointing it out and maybe that they realize it.
I don't know, but I think it's an potential angle, because we all live in that world where we're comfortable with others most of the time. I mean, I have a lighter in my pocket. No one's ever accused me of being an arsonist because there's arsonists. Because an arsonist TV show or a news article came up, there's no one.
Because they watch too much Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah, exactly. Is there a specific Unsolved Mysteries just for arsons?
Yes.
See, so.
Like, there's like episodes dedicated to it, yeah. So, I mean, there was a lot of unsolved ones, so maybe it's you they're looking for. Arson.
I'm just worried about your assault matches,
Automatic lighter.
Heck, I have a lighter that looks like an AK. That has to be the scariest one of them all, right?
It's like a flamethrower and a gun. And
I don't even think that's legal.
Probably a trigger on it. Probably no safety.
Yeah, I wish the flame came out when you pulled the trigger, but you kind of like.
I just wish
slide
that
the dust cover forward.
I just wish that my badge had the same rights as your AK-47 lighter.
Your like VAG?
Yeah.
Like your vagina?
Yes. That's
okay.
The same.
All right, that's what I thought you said your badge, and I was like, Anyway.
I'm going with the signs that I've seen at some of the Take Our Rights rallies.
Oh yeah, put a gun in your, what is it? No. Put a gun in your vagina and then they'll regulate it.
Whoa, no, nothing like that. It was, I wish my body had as many rights as your gun or something like that.
Yeah, that's I mean, women's rights. I'm not saying I'm against them, but I'm not saying I'm drinking that Kool-Aid with all the other broads.
I don't get when they say that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, so like in certain states, like you have to go through background checks before you get some type of medical stuff, or in other states, like you're registered like your body. Because if you really thought that guns had more rights, you obviously don't understand like how regulated guns actually are.
Yeah, exactly. There's those memes and stuff that they definitely don't understand because it's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, what is that called? Hyperbole? When you're just being like a little ridiculous? I think it's more of like I don't want to get all feminist, but shit. Like, like the whole abortion thing and stuff like that, where it's like you put so much thought into this when it's kind of like a non-issue. But you don't really do anything about this. And yeah, it's like a rights thing. And I mean, I think both things, to be honest, should be like none of the fucking government's business, but it is what it is.
So Deadars is pondering how come the coastal states seem to be the worst. What does he say? Why are the coastal states so anti-gun? Is it population-based? And I mean, I'm an expert on Los Angeles now. And that's what I think. I think that there's so many people there that I think two things. There's so many people that you live a different life than people that aren't just always with other people. I mean, I can definitely get away from other people and I don't have to do much except close my door or not go out, for a while. I don't think that's the same when you live in such proximity to everybody else. But then I also think you have so many laws there, like literally everything is laws. There's signs everywhere. I think you get numb to it, and there's a certain amount of, I don't know what the word is, but scofflaw. Like you just get used to breaking laws. Like you have to. Like I don't think you could. I mean, there'd probably be an interesting project to try to obey every single law in a place like Los Angeles. Just walking down the street, navigating from one side of town to the other would be difficult. The amount of regulation there is. So I think that potentially these people that have such regulation, such infringement, they're just so used to ignoring some of it that is that possible that they just don't, you just, okay, throw more on, who cares? We'll ignore more. We'll ignore more. Or am I crazy?
I mean, I retain plausible deniability, so I decline to comment. But yeah, I mean, I think that's probably, I don't know, when you're like fucking micromanage, it's a boner kill. You can't do shit. You can't, go have a good time. It's all rules and laws. But I don't understand how, even these like social justice warriors, why are you like marching to lose rights? Do you like that? Have you not seen anything about like North Korea?
Some of them, I think, want the state to have it all because they either think that they don't have to do nothing once that happens, like the horses will do all the work and they can sit around being what were the critters that sat around doing nothing? Rats? But anyway, they'll have somebody else do the work who likes doing work, and I think they figure they'll just sit and play or do something like the state will assign them, making pretty dresses or painting walls a different color. Like they think that once the state is there to ultimately organize everything, somebody else will do all the shitty stuff that they don't want to have to do, that they can't do because there's not dirt there. The people that do all the work will be where the work is to be done.
Probably, yeah.
I mean to say that, but it's what it seems like those people think when they're pro giant state. I don't know what they think the conclusion of that.
Dependence, like government dependence is a thing, right? Like people like that.
I don't know if people like it. There's definitely a lot of people dependent on government, but I think that the people who are interested in seeing a massive state aren't necessarily the people dependent on the massive state. I think the people dependent on the massive state might have less self-determination or whatever, or like
well,
less.
The people, I think the people who are dependent on the state, they well, let's face it, I mean, they're not voters. They don't care. They're not really, a lot of them, I would say.
Rarely are the people that are dependent on the state the ones that rise up and become the creators of the new state. It's usually the elites that think they figured it all out, and they're going to figure out like the best chess strategy or whatever, 3D chess, and they're going to write the stuff and then for the little people who then get duped and vote for them, I guess. Where's Smeggy in all this one?
I don't know where I am in all this.
He ran away.
I've lost track of the conversation.
The communists and whether or not they're
I don't know. I think it got crazy.
Proletariat or the
totalitarian governments.
All right, so I think Troy sums it up. California, great place to visit, and it is.
It's kind of okay to live here.
I'll take your word for it. I can't fathom it, but it's not so much. I mean, the laws are a whole separate thing than the amount of people. I cannot. It would be a definite difference for me to be around that many people all the time. I mean, I do live far away, but I'm the next state over, and I can go away. Like I can be in the vehicle for 25 minutes and be quite a bit away from every other person on the planet.
Shit, you can't even go like 5 miles in 25 minutes.
That's, I mean, that it's just such a difference there. Now, if you go out to Eastern California, you go out in the desert, you're the same situation. You just get off the highway and go into some direction for 20 minutes, and you're probably by yourself. But not over by the city. And I'm sure in some of the other places, it's a big state. All right, so had a couple of things come up, and now scrolling past. So, Hottie was saying that the term assault weapon has just been changed in the dictionary. You guys were or they were talking about that on Early Watch this morning. Anybody hear about that?
Yeah, well, I talked about it the other day as well, and it's not the definition of assault weapon's been changed. They changed the definition of assault rifle. The thing that, we used to say, hey, full auto's an assault rifle. Assault weapon is a made up term that means anything that looks like one. And they've changed the definition of assault rifle. It still has the first part, fires an intermediate cartridge with select fire, blah, 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 whatever. And then they added on, like, and semi-automatic firearms which resemble like the full auto counterparts, which is what I would have called an assault weapon back in the day, or at least what the anti-gunners would have called an assault weapon back in the day. Like that used to be the distinction between the two, and now they've decided that they're this same thing. But I don't know if that's is that.
I'm not going to give you the assault rifle was ever an established thing either, because assault's a verb, right? So adding it to the description of a firearm is tentative. That's like saying cowboy gun or gangster gun. I mean, you can call it that, and people know what you're saying, but it's not quantifiable or like a real word for like an actual characteristic that you can point to. So I don't know. I don't agree with that assault rifle business. I think that's a word or a phrase that's used when there's an agenda and when they're trying to change perception of the conversation, right? We don't use it very often.
Right. I guess the only reason, the only thing I go along with the assault rifle is just from, like when it was actually developed. Because I mean, there were different terms for different like military weapons. You had like machine guns and then light machine guns, or like submachine guns. Like those are all different types of things that different militaries used, and the assault rifle was kind of the in between those.
Well, first off, okay, I hear you. You're saying like the different names are accurate. Like a machine gun is a gun that operates automatically, right? Automatic machine gun. A submachine gun is a sub-caliber gun that shoots automatically. So that has another definition. The only group that ever tried to give the name to assault was stupid Nazis. They're Sturmgewehr. So, and that was to appease stupid Hitler in his paperwork and his bureaucracy. So that was, again, done by Nazis who were intentionally trying to kill innocent populations. So they called it that to strike fear or whatever. It wasn't like even back then, it wasn't like a way to describe the operation of the machine or anything. It wasn't like, intermediate assault rifle. It was just assault rifle because Hitler insisted that they don't have another rifle or some stupid thing. So anyway, that's another reason I don't like them trying to cram it down our throats, because it's a Nazi phrase. So they like it. They love Nazi stuff, or they just don't care. And to them, who cares what origin of a word? But if we're going to have to, if we need another term for a definition of a intermediate cartridge, firearm that's larger than a pistol, I'm certainly not going to take it from the Nazi freaking dictionary. Definitely being contrary. I don't like it. I don't like that they put it in the dictionary. I didn't remember you talking about it. Did you talk about it in the cave?
I don't remember. I thought it might have been on my Every Second Matters thing, but it could have been in the cave. I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't remember it, but I think Jimmy or somebody was pondering that they're just putting it in there so that later they can go back and go, oh, plus it's been in the dictionary. And I think that's exactly why they're putting it in there. It doesn't need to be there. It's a fake word. And like I just said, I don't think it even needs to exist. They're only cramming it in there to give it validity. So they can say, oh, well, it's a real thing. It's in the dictionary. It's in the real dictionary. So I think that that proves that the dictionary isn't non-biased. And again, the more we just sit there and go, that happened, dang it, shake our fist at it and do nothing else, then what consequences are there? Why would they ever stop pushing that way? Why would they ever stop subtly adjusting the narrative? So if we don't get upset and complain and point at things and make a big stink about it and be obnoxious, then they're just going to keep doing it. You know?
That's true. Very true.
I guess it was in the After Cave, Cave 2.0.
Oh, okay. If Dead Horse says so.
Got that from one of the cave archivists.
The official
I just remember mentioning it because then there was a whole thing on, you know, are they really being political versus are they just, you know, the dictionary is supposed to kind of define words and language does change, which is why they update it. And I use the example of like, you know, some gaming words got put in the dictionary. Like noob is in the dictionary of like a person who is new at playing a video game, normally used derogatorily, like because you call someone a noob if they're dumb, you know, that type of thing. So it's like the dictionary didn't make up that word or define it as that. They said, okay, how are people using this word? Oh, it's an insult to people who suck at video games. Let's call it, that's what we'll put in there. So I was kind of speculating on giving them the benefit of the doubt, but I think I got convinced otherwise that, yeah, it's just more of a political move.
Well, and even if it isn't, even if it is just like, do, if this sounds like a word, and let's put it in the dictionary because people use it a lot. We put up a poll on our website and people said yes. And again, there should be consequences. And if they're going to not pay that much attention and try to literally change their way we talk, because if they put it in the dictionary, that means it's going to be in schools, and that means kids are going to learn it. I mean, some kid is going to get it as a vocabulary word. Some teacher is going to be like, there is a definition, and it is in the dictionary, and all my kids are going to learn it. You know what I mean? That's something that, again, we lose if we just let that kind of stuff happen.
Is Pink joking right now? He said something about they put in fully semi-auto. Tell me you're just joking about that.
Full
that can't
semi-auto?
be real. There's no way that's in a dictionary.
I hope not.
Hey, this is 2018. Anything's possible.
Vanessa Kitty says they should also define long gun, handgun, shit gun, and more specifically define a handgun must have 12 inches or less and 50 ounces. All those things that are crucial for firearms purchases. That's interesting.
Well, she's talking about in the state they define all that kind of stuff because her original comment says something about, you know, in Connecticut, assault weapon, assault rifle, assault pistol, assault shotgun. Like those are all defined in law. So I think that's an add-on to the other thing.
I got you. Okay.
And yeah, when you're talking law, I mean that's why they do have to define stuff. And that's why I do think it's important to have accurate definitions if you're making laws about stuff, especially if you're trying to say these are the things you can't have, and then you have to define it so people know exactly what you're talking about. But
I'll get something to drink. How do we incorporate a comic into the Daily Gun Show?
What do you mean a comic? Like a drawing or?
Well, that's open-ended for a reason. So I'm trying to get something to drink, and I wanted to have something to talk about.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Maybe just show it on the YouTubes or.
Yeah, I mean that's something we've been toying around for a while of making comics. So that's one of the reasons why G-Webs was playing around with the different like animation software and whatnot.
Right.
And yeah, I hope that some people that are creative and are willing to work on a project like that would like to do some type of Second Amendment focused like whatever comic, whether it's animated or it's just like a regular like comic book type thing.
I'm thinking like heavy metal / the Animatrix / other things that have different collaborations of people that mash it all together into one thing on a certain topic.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool because then it's you'd have kind of different styles or different characters and all that kind of stuff, and then you get a new comic whenever the person like writes a new one.
So in like heavy metal, wait, hold on, Angelina, have you seen Heavy Metal, the movie?
No, I don't even know that that's a movie.
Maggie, you've seen Heavy Metal?
Oh, of course.
Okay. So instead of being, we'll just talk without the girl. Instead of being the little green ball, it's the Second Amendment. So
all right, that works.
This wicked, awesome cartoons from back in the day, and I think they went. Well, it was a magazine, like a paper magazine first, and I think they made the cartoon kind of off the magazine, which was a collaboration of different artists that just got published once a month all together. And they decided to put some theme through the cartoons, which was this little glowing basketball thing. So super awesome movie. Neat music. You'll probably like the music, I think, actually. And then just different types
of music is it?
Heavy metal music from back in the day, 70s music.
Oh, okay. I might like that.
Yeah, and basically it was what do they call it? The anthology or whatever. So it's like you'd have one group of characters over here, and then it jumped to a different story of like another group of characters. And the magazine was like that, is you'd be sitting there reading it, and there'd be, I don't know, like 4 or 5 pages of like a story, right? And then it kind of leaves it open-ended. And then when you get it next month, it's like a bunch of other stories. So it's like you kind of had to get all of them, which frustrates me because I have gaps in the stories that I want to read, and I don't know which issue, like the second part of like the story about the coal miners, like where's that or whatever. And but anyways, yeah, you could do that with a Second Amendment.
Sounds
type
like
thing.
a boy movie.
No, there's girls, because there's this one girl who's in it. Does this ring a bell? No?
No.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear of the term heavy metal, I think of Heavy Metal Poisoning by Styx.
Well, Heavy Metal is a magazine. It was awesome. It's like a animated. It wasn't really a comic, and it wasn't really Rolling Stone. It was sort of in between, and it was back in the day. And then
what's the day though?
Like 70s.
Oh, okay.
But it ran all through like the 80s and 90s. I don't know. Do they still make it? Because I know there was
ran through the 90s.
Heavy Metal 2000 was like one of the newer movies, and I think Heavy Metal's still like a comic.
I think it is. I don't know if you call it a comic or a graphic novel or just a magazine, but I think anthology is the right word, right?
Right, but I would say it's definitely a like comic anthology. Yeah. Like each story, like it's like you're reading a comic book, pictures and words
for adults and for
definitely adults.
Heavy metal music, yeah.
Not for children. If anyone with children's listening, say I'm going to get that for little Johnny. I mean, he might really enjoy it, but you probably don't want him reading it.
Yeah, a lot of nudity.
It's all right. It just makes you cool. Bring it to school.
All right. So
yeah, with the clear backpack, then they could see. That's what I'm curious about with the clear backpack thing. How many kids are going to get in trouble for other stuff now? They say it's like for safety, but they're going to end up getting people in trouble for like whatever, drugs and other things. Kind of like stadiums are like, oh, we have to have clear backpacks to like go to a state, or like clear purses for a stadium or whatever.
The kids
and they don't want you drink. They don't want you bringing in drinks and food. So they say it's for safety, but that's what they're busting people for, is saving money by bringing in your own beer or something.
The shitty thing about clear backpacks is, what if you're on your fucking period?
You don't have that.
I think it would be very embarrassing for kids.
Now I know I wouldn't really give a shit at this point in my life, but for like a, I don't know, 14, 15-year-old, how old are you when you're in high school? 14, 15-year-old girl, oh my god, I would fucking die. Especially like pads, oh, horrible. That's why we can't lose our rights, kids.
Yeah, anything weird, right? So you got to wear some kind of like contraption for your foot or some kind of a back thing or whatever. Kids are weird and get all worried about stuff like that, right? Or if you're just in a dumb math class, you got to walk around with your dumb math book or something.
Are you allowed to have like a pencil box or like a purse or I don't know?
I'm pretty sure they said something like, our tech daddy said something like if you were in band or something, right, and you had like a real
Oh, so you just stick your
package.
tampons in your saxophone and you're good to go.
Well, but you'd have to walk that up to a separate thing and they would search it. So if you had your clear backpack, like that was an alternative to a metal detector. So there's no way to hide anything if you had a clear backpack. So you just walk right in. But if you're carrying around like a musical instrument or something like a other bag, then like a bag for sports people wear bags. So they'd have to search that.
I wish.
And then you're not going to carry your saxophone into math class or whatever if you're a girl.
I
guess you could run back to your locker or something if you had to use the restroom. But
when I was a little kid, I had to be aware of that thing because I got in trouble if it got lost because it was money. If you lose like a instrument. So I didn't lose.
Yeah, I was a drummer. I just brought drumsticks. Everything else, like all the other drums, were just in the band room. They just stayed there.
It's like being a pianist. Like, oh, I'm in the band. I play the piano. It's like basically I'm in the band. I just don't have to ever carry anything ever.
Yep.
Get my shit.
I just had like 2 or 3 pairs of sticks in my bag at all times. And that was it.
Well, now those sticks could be held like a gun, so I think that's violent, and also you could smack somebody with them. I think that's violent. So
yeah, you probably can't have drums anymore in bands.
All right, so we went all over the place with that one. So we are at 40-something people watching us, 50 minutes into the show. So I think at some point we should talk about a state called Oklahoma, which we're going to talk about the Second Amendment of.
Yeah, which apparently they don't have deer antelopes there because I got my songs mixed up.
Jimmy didn't show up, so no payment, nothing.
No payment, no nothing.
Oh, yeah. So I filled in for him and I looked up a bunch of stuff about it.
So I hope Jimmy's happy that Smeggy had to go look at Wikipedia. Thanks, Jimmy.
Oh, is that where he gets his stuff? I went over to handgunlaw.us.
Oh, okay. Well,
so he did better research.
Well, I don't know. This might not have like some of the like stuff on long guns or whatever. We'll see. Actually, let me turn my mouse on real quick, then I can just scroll.
Turn that mouse.
So as far as from the carry point of view of Oklahoma, let's see. It is a shall issue state, so that's good. And a duty to inform an officer, yes. Reciprocity, yeah, it has reciprocity with quite a few states. Most of them are good to go. Blah, blah, blah. Hang on here. I didn't say I did a good job. Oh my goodness, that's all about how to get your permit or whatever.
I calculate that this is 14% better than Jimmy anyway, so you're doing all right.
Okay.
All right, while Smeggy's sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah, sorry. I thought I had more stuff in here, but this like really got in super detailed.
We have a cycle camp update. He's in Indiana now, better than halfway to Tulsa. So drive well, or drive safely, and what do they say? May the wind.
Indiana.
So I imagine he's stopped for the night.
The wind in your sails.
He probably has John with him and other people.
Well, you can carry in restaurants that serve alcohol, so that's good.
Yep, that's a something that I think it's overlooked, right? There's lots of states where you can carry while you're drinking or in the bars, and the concern is always, oh, constitutional carry. People are going to escalate bar fights into death matches.
How often does that happen in Arizona? Pretty much never.
It's never happened since January 31st of 2009. We had constitutional carry. July 31st, 2009. We had constitutional carry. Never been an incident.
That's pretty good.
10 years.
All right, so I've finished my research. There's no permit to purchase. There's no registration, no assault weapons law, no ownership license. Carry permits. You don't need one for long guns. You do need one for handguns. Like I said, it is shall issue. Open carry, no on long guns, yes on handguns. So you can open carry a handgun. It's permitted with a carry license. So it's open carry if you have a carry permit. State preemption, local, yes. NFA weapons are not restricted. And background checks are not required on private sales. So that's kind of it. That seems pretty. It's a pretty pro gun state. It seems like
very free.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Oklahoma, state of the state, sounds like a pretty awesome.
Oh, I like this one. So they do have in their state constitution. It's in section 26. The right of the citizen to keep and bear arms in defense of his home, person, or property, or in aid of a civil power where thereunto legally summoned shall never be prohibited, but nothing herein contained shall prevent the legislative from regulating the carrying of weapons. So that's their state version, which basically, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. But then it does say, you can regulate the carrying of weapons. So that's basically, they can have like concealed carry laws or whatever. But turns out they have pretty good concealed carry laws.
Also, they have a weird panhandle. I don't like it.
And then there is something that's actually pretty topical. It's kind of cool that we grabbed this. So as of like the middle of March, the Oklahoma House is voting on constitutional carry. So House Bill 2951 would give Oklahoma constitutional carry. So if you're in that area, contact your peoples, your representatives and whatnot, and tell them that you want them to, vote for that because you want constitutional carry.
I'm surprised I haven't heard more about that because that's pretty big, and I haven't heard anything until you just mentioned that.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty awesome, so I find stuff that some people don't know. Let's see, what's this? Something else. The governor signed self-defense law. So, I think I talked about this. Yeah, I talked about this on Every Second Matters. If I'm not mistaken, it was like a stand your ground type laws where you don't have a duty to retreat, even outside of your home if you're legally allowed to be there. And the governor signed it. So that was good. And then it is already jumping back a couple years now. So they haven't had a lot of gun laws go through recently. But those are kind of the most recent ones. Is they got like a stand your ground type thing, and then constitutional carry is on its way through the House.
So of the people going to Tulsa who are also in the audience right now, 41 people, 24 of them have thumbed it up. How many of you are going to have reciprocity with Oklahoma and will be carrying in Oklahoma? Show of hands. Show of guns. Just shoot up in the air. Lobby pop. Or text pop. I guess that's called. You can use the little gun icon by flipping here. This is how you do this. If people don't know how to do this, you go to your screen here and you click on this little face. That'll flip it over to the faces. Get rid of that face. And then you scroll down past the stupid faces, stupid other things, and then you get to some less stupid things, but they're still stupid. And then you get to the poisons, of course. And then way down here, you finally get to the violent things. And there's a gun. Boom. So that's one way you could indicate that you are going to be carrying in Oklahoma. And then if you want to get back, what do? You click this? No, there's some button you push to get back to... How do I get back to keyboard? All right. Well, you'll have to get back to keyboard on your own. But that's how you get to the gun.
Very good to know. And so far, Gary said he would. Cycle Camp said he's got 3 in the vehicle.
Oh, because I asked him if he was alone.
Oh,
He said they're driving straight through.
So John from New York, who went to the castle with me, is with Psycho Camp, I believe. And his brother from the similar mother.
Well, we don't.
oh yeah,
We don't know.
Pink's out there. Yeah, my guess is most because, like I said, when I looked at the little map, it showed like which states were green, like that had reciprocity with Oklahoma. Like it was most of the country except their permit, so they probably
Is
also
Pink,
accept most people's.
is Pink going to Tulsa? Does 3 Guns mean Pink's going to Tulsa? Pink, are you going to Tulsa?
I think it might.
Well, he said if I go, I'll carry, but I don't know that he said that he would be going.
If I end up going, now I see. I see how you read English now. And if you scroll up and you flip it over to live chat instead of stupid top chat, which it tries to.
Oh yeah, it goes back to all the time, right?
Yeah, because I refreshed my screen before. All right, we're spending a lot of time reading the YouTube side. Makes me feel bad, so I'm heading over to the gun channel side where it's much better. People that are legit are chatting over here. Tried to Fiverr to find somebody. No one responded. Fiverr can be difficult. It took me a while to get people on Fiverr. And then once you got them, $5 is, if we're talking about a website that allows you to meet up with people who are willing to do work for like a menu type of rates. So a lot of times you can get people in other countries to do all kinds of work for you for $5. So that's what they call Fiverr. And I've experienced people that were good. And then what'll happen is after a bit of time, they've accumulated a lot of money for them, and then they're gone. Maybe forever, maybe for a long time. So there are some downsides to using labor from other countries, but it can be pretty decent. So if you're looking for animated graphics, though, let me know. I need work, and I'll do it cheap for you. And if I can do it, I'll do it. But kind of narrow casting there. Constitutional carry in Texas. I can't imagine why you don't already have that. Every once in a while, I got to go, the hell, Texas, because that's one of those things. Same
Yeah,
They
with-
just got open carry like a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Gary's saying we should have little gun emojis over here on gun channels. I think I try to turn off that stuff just because I don't want everybody's computer to waste their time loading all that stuff, but there probably are little cartoons that could pop up. Okay, everything else on the gun channel side is shorthanded. I don't know what they're saying. Do we want to talk about any of our old-fashioned topics of the day, such as a gun shop? Let's talk about the
Yeah, let's do a gun shop.
How about we do the Autry Museum? Have you been to it?
I have a long time ago. It's been, I don't know, 15 years or more.
I know that since that time they've at least changed the name, but I suspect they've also changed exhibits probably quite a bit, because it sounds like the gun one, for example, was rebuilt in like 14 or something. I think I've seen something online about the new digs or something, or the new gallery.
The last time I went, I think it was like a school field trip, so I didn't really want to be there, and it was shitty. And I was probably like 12. So
Like, guns are icky.
guns are icky. No, I liked guns, but I didn't like I don't know.
You liked guns, or you liked guns?
I liked guns.
Okay.
Not just like.
Because like can lead to like, and like can lead to love.
Uh-oh.
I like that. Things are going on now.
All right. Well, I can't get my pictures to load, so I'm not going to load any pictures now. So that's what's going to happen. I don't know what's going on. My computer can't handle. Oh, see, my toolbar keeps going away. I should probably restart this thing pretty soon. I was going to bring up pictures of the Autry Museum, but like I say, my computer's being a little weird. I've been doing taxes all day, so it's probably burdened with I don't know, processor caches that aren't deleted or something.
I mean,
So-
should we just talk about it?
Yeah. So I went there for the gun part, and I forget who all. I know that you mentioned it, but other people mentioned it had a good gun section or whatever gallery, and they certainly do. There's a whole section of the museum which is fairly large. It's not a little museum, and it's not crowded, but it's definitely not sparse. So there's lots of bang for your buck as far as getting all the way in there. I think it was $12 to get in, $9 if you got AAA or some other way to get in for a little bit cheaper, and quite a few neat things that were. I'm trying to think if any of them were actually one of a kind. Certainly some neat things though. A whole room for Colt, a Gatling gun, and one of the Colt ponies that was on the factory. Thought that was kind of neat to see that in California. And then quite a bit about the history of firearms out here. And I thought done in such a way that wasn't like, okay, we have to talk about firearms. Like they are specifically talking about firearms, and they're celebrating them as tools. They were a little California, ish about it, but
was there a waiting period to see the guns?
no, but not just totally blatant down on the guns, but little bit less into guns than some of the other museums, but certainly a lot of guns there, and worth seeing. That was just the gun section. The rest of the museum is art and movies and cowboys and movies and TV and stuff, which I'm aware of but not expert on. So once you go upstairs, from the guns are downstairs. Once you go upstairs, there's or was it upstairs? Maybe it was just in a different part of the downstairs. You get through the various TV and movie cowboys, and a lot of those dioramas and displays would have their iconic guns. And of course, most of them, part of their thing was their hat and their boots and their whatever windbreaker, and then their gun, right?
Did I tell you that they filmed a lot of them here, and there's that park, or did I forget to tell you that?
What? They filmed a lot of movies in California?
No, well, yeah, but specifically those stupid westerns, specifically in Simi Valley.
Oh, okay. Well, I can imagine when I would go from Simi Valley to Oxnard, and then from Oxnard back to Simi Valley, it was incredible. It was crazy, crazy, beautiful nature and hills and stuff. So I could definitely see somebody wanting to do some cowboy pictures there. Yeah. Do you even know how awesome it is where you live? Like, how often do you go to Oxnard?
I try not to go to Oxnard.
Oh, well, you've done it before, though, I'm sure. And
yes,
that's a view right there. And then what do you call that big giant hill that goes down?
Oh, the Camarillo Grade. That's like, I think that's like famous.
Oh, yeah. It makes you go like 90 miles an hour in a van. It's pretty neat.
Right. And everyone's like hitting their brakes and you're like dodging shit.
Yeah. It's basically like if a major highway just went, let's just go straight down.
So imagine that at like rush hour, but like
no way.
California rush hour.
Not a chance. I don't think my van could do that. Going slow down that?
Want to.
Oh, hell no. I would pull off, and hopefully my emergency brakes, I'd probably like tie an anchor to the side of the, what do you call those, railings or whatever, and try to just air for the whole thing, because I would not.
There's actually a scenic back road that's really nice. So maybe next time, if you know someone who lives in the area, they can show you.
Oh, okay. Well, see if I can't work that out.
Maybe you'll figure that one out.
So I have a typo in my IG post for Autry. Yeah, I don't doubt that very much, because it seems like you just have an E in it, doesn't it? Autry? Or EY?
Autry.
Anyway, we were talking about the museum, and it was pretty awesome. And upstairs was more art, and I think the Western art stuff I find appealing. It's definitely diverse and not what you'd think. It's not just all watercolors of like a sad horse drinking water in a pond or whatever. And really neat interactive sort of area, which I'm guessing again is like a wandering exhibit or something, just because of the way that it's in its own, and it's kind of separate. It's kind of a different exhibit than the rest of the building, of some lady that was like weaving baskets and did all kinds of different art, and some really neat displays. So she has some really tiny baskets that she weaves, and some really neat interactive like TV screens that let you see the tiny stuff, so like kids could see it large. Anyway, I was really impressed with the museum, and I think it's got a theater of some sort there. I don't know what they were doing there, but probably movies or cowboy shows. They had a restaurant or something. So it's right across the street or the parking lot from the zoo, and then it's right down the hill from the observatory where Terminator comes back in time.
Yep. Did you see Travel Town too? Because you're right by there.
I have no idea what that is. What is that?
It's like a bunch of old trains.
Oh, I've seen some trains, but
that was probably it then. Like old trains though?
Yeah, like painted weird. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably it.
So yeah, there's a couple of different things to do right in that area, and I definitely recommend it. If you got old people or kids, they would probably enjoy it. Or if you're normal and you want to see guns, go check it out. If you're not old or young, I guess, normal age.
Normal age. So what about what's next? History, maybe?
Is there even history tomorrow? Or
History today? Today's the 3rd, so I'll do the normal history.
Oh, there totally was, and I didn't post it on Instagram. Ooh.
What was it?
Weatherby died. So, guy invented the Weatherby shotgun, I guess.
He died?
Yeah, died in 1988. Most of us could have shook hands with him if we would have been paying attention.
I would have only been like 3. I guess I saw the hand now.
People will shake hands with babies.
Mine didn't grow till I was 7, so I didn't have a hand.
I didn't get a hand till I was 15.
Today, 1818. Well, today, if you're in tomorrow, April 4th, the United States flag is declared to have 13 red and white stripes and 20 stars. That was in 1818. 13 stripes, but 20 stars.
20 stars. April 3rd, it's April 3rd in California, Pony Express debuts.
Interesting.
Debuts.
What year? April
1860. And then when we were talking about kind of cowboy stuff, so 1882, Jesse James is murdered. Shot in the back. 1996, the Unabomber was arrested.
Well, I've got one from 1968, and April 4th was Martin Luther King assassination in Memphis. Well, not a happy one.
1968. 1975, Microsoft founded, April 4th.
That was yesterday. That was the 3rd. Interesting.
That's today. Or the 4th. That's the 4th.
So why are we doing tomorrow's today? I get so confused at this point of the night.
I know. I think we just do both of them, and then the next day we just repeat half of them.
Well, you got to figure if it's today, it's the 3rd. Well, it's interesting to know, but it's already the 4th by the time you listen to the show. So if you hear the 4th tomorrow, you can go around acting like a big shot, like you paid attention to what's going on today. You knew about it.
Oh, yeah, now you got a topic.
Right.
Oh, that's a good point. Okay. I withdraw my criticism.
Right.
So, yeah, the idea here would be that if we could come up with something interesting to talk about, a little kernel of info like that, yeah, gives you something maybe to talk about at the gun shop. Maybe that, that guy's having a bad day because of something else that happened, gets a little chuckle, and now you've got a funner person to hang out with at the gun shop.
Here's a good one. Well, I got a couple good ones still.
Oh.
Well, one, so for the conspiracy theory oriented, 1949, NATO is established.
That would be Ellis, the olden Ellis, the first Ellis. All into the conspiracies.
That was the only one. I don't know why I said a couple.
Oh, well, NATO had a few countries in it, probably.
Few.
What symmetry relations can be made with a barrel of monkeys? All the fun topics for a math class. You get the students to play with a barrel of monkeys. Maggie, symmetry. Barrel of monkeys. Go.
I don't know. I'm not doing Vanessa's work for her.
Still are
So,
good. Well, they go to work. Interesting.
I don't know. All right, so what else we got?
We're gonna start requiring our audience to use clear.
Clear backpacks?
I just don't like the idea of them stealing a bunch of our ideas. Take them off.
I think they should have to use clear thumbs up.
What? Or do we even get thumbs up anymore? 25 thumbs up, 42 watching. That seems pretty close to 43 watching. So now somebody else just jumped over
Okay,
without.
someone stop watching because 42 is a better number.
No, that's all right.
I
You're
don't
allowed
think
to
you should
watch.
say that.
One of the people is not really paying attention. I like to think of it that way.
Oh, okay, then that's allowed.
All right. So.
Well, gun movie, Dirty Harry. Guess what? I haven't seen it.
What?
Yeah.
Seriously?
I'm serious. Yeah.
You're, like you'd had to not watch that intentionally. Like you were like, I'm not watching that movie for a reason.
No, I've never watched it. I've never had a reason, I guess, or whatever.
All right. Well, Dirty Harry is a movie about a cop back in the 70s. It is awesome. I don't know why other people like it. I like it because it's an okay movie, but mainly I like looking at the 70s. And they drive around in cars and they wear weird clothes and like doors aren't locked. People do weird things and you get to see it all because they just filmed it, in San Francisco or someplace. So I like that kind of movie. And I don't know what the director is or what, but the movie's okay. And you get to
Who's
see
in it?
Of it. Clint Eastwood.
Oh, is he?
Nobody else. Everybody else is just. Huh?
Is he Dirty Harry?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Everybody else is just support actors. It's mainly him. At least he's the only one. I think he's the only one that goes from movie to movie. You've seen it, right, Smeggy?
I've seen parts of it.
Oh, he's only slightly better than me.
Like a girl. Smeggy is basically saying he's seen the same amount of movies as a girl. That's fine.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Okay. So
I've seen the amount of movies that I've seen.
I'm embarrassed for the audience, for the hosts, the other hosts that are here tonight. Oh my goodness. I don't know. I guess somehow we got brazen enough to think we could do a gun-related podcast after not even 2/3 of the hosts haven't even seen Dirty Harry.
Listen, just because I don't watch movies doesn't mean anything.
I feel like I came out here in like, I don't know.
I've never been the movie guy. I mean, that's like you're being surprised at Daniel for not seeing something. Like, we all know he doesn't watch movies. I don't watch movies either.
Oh, this isn't
right. I'm like a Dano.
Both of you deliberately decided not to watch this movie. That's like not seeing Star Wars or not seeing freaking E.T. or something. Like, there's certain movies like you are going to see just by being in this country, you would think. Like, no teacher.
Well, I've never specifically like changed the channel off of it. I probably would watch it if it came on.
And that's
I've never
the thing.
seen it.
You're like
that's where I've seen parts of it. Actually, like I said, I have seen parts of it. So I was probably, whatever, flipping through and like it was half over. And I just started watching it for a bit and got busy or whatever.
I've seen E.T. So if that's what we're using as the measurement, then I'm there.
All right. I've been trying to get a link over here for Patriot. I appreciate it. So there's your link. Hopefully that works for you. Otherwise, just head over to the store and click on gun channels. There's a whole section of the store for gun channels, and everything that you can actually see that isn't grayed out is available. I leave the other stuff there just so people can see what has been.
They missed out on.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's lame because it kind of confuses people, I guess. But I don't know, because we're on like the 4th or 6th, I guess, version of some of these, and I think it's neat to keep the history back there. Maybe I'll move that stuff around at some point, but that's sidetracked.
Well, wait. So we got sidetracked. So how many stiff thumbs do you give it?
No, it's getting to, I guess. I mean, it's a good movie. Even if you don't like the 70s, you just want to watch a cool cop movie, I think it's pretty good. And it's like the 70s, like Death Wish. We should talk sometime about the new horrible garbage that they call Death Wish. Just ruined it.
I don't even know what the old horrible garbage they call Death Wish is.
No. The first Death Wish is like art. It is a great movie. It is. You like violence, right? And obscenity.
Well, yeah, I like violence and obscenities. Who doesn't?
Well, then Death Wish
get off on that shit.
It's right up your alley. It's like legit, and that's what the thing about the 70s. For some reason, they like to just show you bad stuff and really imply some horrible stuff. Like they didn't hold no punches back in the 70s. They didn't necessarily show you everything, and there wasn't no special effects necessarily, but you certainly knew what crazy, gross things were happening. And I don't know if Dirty Harry's got a bunch of that, but it's certainly in that style. Like the bad guys are weird and just do odd things that are violent and weird. So even if you don't like the 70s part of it as much as I do, I think a lot of people like the Dirty Harry movies just because the story itself is kind of hardcore. It isn't like a timid little, oh, there's also a police story in it. I mean, it's a good story.
Maybe I'll watch it. I think it's on the Primes.
A lot of disappointment from the audience on the both of you.
Yeah, that's I'm not surprised.
But here's the thing. That's what, we're talking Dirty Harry. We're not talking like some obscure movie maybe 6 people have watched. We're talking Dirty Harry. So that means, again, both of you were like, make my day. Like, most caliber in the world, what? Like, did I fire 6 or, nah, I'm not going to watch the movie. Just, yeah, nah, I get it. Like, you had to intentionally not watch that movie to not understand all of those cultural references that come from that movie. So many.
Is that what's the thing you just said? Because that did sound familiar.
Go ahead and make my day.
Yeah.
Everyone knows those things from it. Like I know where that comes from.
How could you have something? That's why I like some things, like some dumb movies you'll watch as a little kid just because, oh, I'm going to go see where that comes from. Like Rosebud is a sled or something dumb. Like that.
I don't know what that means. Rosebud is a sled. What the hell's that?
That might be old, before the internet. But I'm just saying there's some movies you're going to watch just because it's like, what is this? What's going on here? I need to know the backstory here. And then you're like, oh, okay, now I know I never have to watch it again. So I could see somebody not liking it, but to have never even watched it, that seems deliberate. Hey, it's a free country. It's a free country. You don't have to watch it. We just don't have to.
We just don't have to like you if you don't watch it.
You can't tell us how to think of you. We're deliberately not watching that movie.
I don't like what you're incinerating.
No, I don't. Whatever. Not that good a movie, but it is pretty neat. If you like 70s stuff, then I'd say watch it. And
freaking Too Hottie hasn't seen it either.
What?
See?
Well, then I'm disappointed with all 3 of you. Then that's too bad. Well, here's the thing: you have an opportunity to sit down and watch it, and then you can go, oh, and then you can feel disappointed in yourselves for not watching it all this time.
Yeah, but you know what? The last time I watched something that you told me to watch, now I just want to watch Rockford Files all the time, and I can't.
Not because it's not awesome, but because there aren't enough Rockford Files.
Well, because it's like you can't find it.
Well, you know where it was? In that orange little accordion thing I brought with a whole stack of them.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So I brought them all the way to California and brought them home because nobody reminded me to give them to you. All right. So with that, I don't know. We did a gun shop? Kinda.
Did we do a gun shop? Do a gun shop. Yeah, we did.
About the Autry Museum. We kind of talked about a movie that you guys haven't even seen. Gun of the Day? Do we even do that anymore?
Let's do it. Do a gun of the day.
Maggie, I think earlier you were asked what the next gun you're going to buy is. What was your answer to that? A lever gun?
Yeah. I don't know what type, though.
So, because of Bob, you're going to get a mare's leg? Ranch hand?
No, I would get just the regular rifle version. Mm-hmm. And it has absolutely nothing to do with Bob. I've been talking about getting it for a couple of years now.
All right. So, pistol caliber, rifle caliber?
Something with a straight walled cartridge because of the whole hunting regulation thing in Michigan.
4570, sounds like?
Possibly. Mm-hmm. Although I think someone said that ends up not falling under the regulation or something. I forget.
It might taper a little bit, actually. So, 45 Colt?
Yeah, or I was thinking, I'm pretty sure 44 mag falls in that group, and that'd be strong enough to take that deer down. So, and then I could get a revolver in the same thing.
Yeah, it's hard not to go with that combo. All right, so that's the gun of the day. The 44 Magnum lever and revolver combo that Smeggy will eventually get at a northern rig.
Yeah, I don't know enough about companies to know which like company to go with. I mean, I've heard people talking about Henry's and I don't know other ones.
So Henrys are going to be good, and then the other ones are going to look like them.
I want to get a Henry.
So I think you're suggesting go towards the Henry.
I would get a Henry if I was buying a 357. They're not going to be lightweight because of their heavy, but I would not want the South American ones. I have a South American. No, wait, I have a Henry. So no, I didn't get a South American one. Got a Henry 22. But it would be definitely
Henry 22.
Huh?
I want a Henry 22.
Oh, we'll move to Arizona and I'll sell it to you or give it to you. Trade you for something. It's got a couple of scratches on it.
A couple scratches.
Something tells me that means it's beat to all hell.
So with that, that's our gun of the day. And we did history. We fulfilled that obligation. Let's go take a look at where the tour is. It's the last day of the tour. Get a little bit above halfway there. Last time I looked, still sitting there. 75 backers, do appreciate that. 59% funded. We've got a couple hours left in the project. We'll throw the link out there again. We'll do what we can do. We're trying to supplement with some stuff on eBay right now and over on the store. Posted some bayonet patches people have asked for. Posted them over on the AK Instagram. Maybe if somebody's interested in grabbing those, we can potentially change our plans here. But at the moment, just didn't juggle money good. So the loophole funds will be coming in just about time for everybody to be leaving Tulsa probably. So very, very disappointing, but we're efforting, and anybody that wants to share some of those efforts, we do appreciate it. Otherwise, we're looking forward to the next couple of days of people getting together at Tulsa. The big gun show is there on the weekend. Clover has talked to the guy at the museum and arranged a tour. So anybody who's listening, who's headed towards Tulsa, if you haven't seen the crazy, what do they call these things, group emails where nobody knows how to blind carbon copy. So if you haven't seen that massive email going out from Clover, that he talked to the guys at the museum at 1 p.m., I believe, on Friday. So plan on being there for the tour at 1. And the press passes are all good to go. The email explains the process there. And we will either be on the road there or here. And either way, efforting towards facilitating rooms for people that are lobbies, hangout rooms for people that are going to be in Oklahoma who might want to jump in on phones. We'll have the table there with electric, depending on, I don't know of anybody coordinating it yet. I kind of plan to bring my internet there and set it up, but maybe somebody else will have something similar, and we'll have some internet there potentially where people can jump on. And again, we'll have some rooms set up for them so they don't have to do all that effort there in the building, and maybe give us some play-by-play of what's happening during the show. With 20-something people there, 14 of them with press passes, I would think that we could probably get somebody sitting around in a hangout 24/7, or at least a full 8 hours of the show, right? I don't want to give anybody that obligation, but I suspect with that many people, there's going to be, an overlap of when people want to sit and hang out at the table. And if they're willing, then they can be live. And who knows, maybe we can provide a resource for people to come up and ask questions or something. Being able to be their Google searchers or, researchers out there, helping them to figure out prices perhaps, or double check on what a mark might mean or what date something might be or something like that. If nothing else, just to, be someplace, an audience that they can come show off their goodies that they acquire. They'll be at the museum on Friday. I think they're going shooting on Thursday, and then maybe some adventures on Monday, the people that stick around and don't head straight back.
All right, well,
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. Sounds like a fun Oklahoma party.
And for everyone not going, I mean, you can keep up with the adventures on gun channels. I'm sure, like you said, as people are doing hangouts or different things, they'll be posted up on the main page, letting you know what channel it's on and all that kind of stuff.
Hopefully. So that'll be happening, and of course, Jimmy's efforting the Early Watch group, the Early Watch Nation, the Early Watch League, Early Watch.
It's Early Watch Nation, but I call it the Early Watch Initiative because it's like way better.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I know, right?
The Early Watch
Nation,
because I'm just making up words too. Anyway, so the Early Watch, though, is a bunch of people that are efforting together to get together in the mornings and consolidate their findings on their various states. Jimmy set up a website with Night Strike, and they're going to build sort of a scoreboard there. Hopefully, we'll get them to put that, at least duplicate it over on Every Second Matters, so that it can be, again, part of the bigger, what are we calling that? Effort. And then again, we've got a lot of fights going on right now, and I think a lot of people aren't necessarily apathetic as much as just confused. So hopefully some of this will be to clear up some of that noise. So check those shows out in the early mornings. There's lobbies going on during the day. Always a good opportunity to hear what others think about some of the topics of the day, to keep up to date on events as they happen, because usually those people are listening to the radio or Instagram or something that's giving them some kind of news feed. So you can listen to their back and forth, and then when something comes up, you hear about it. Then the afternoon and evening shows will start up. And what's tomorrow? Wednesday. So Matt will be back, maybe. I think he said he will be back doing his show, cutting it off, and then hitting the road. So Matt will be back. Not sure when Clover's leaving, so Clover might be doing his show tomorrow. And Rick did not go, correct? So he did not go to Tulsa, so I imagine his show will be going on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think so.
Sean is asking if anyone is up next. Smeggy sometimes does a cave after this.
Yeah, I'm planning on doing it tonight, and I just posted that, and then he asked if anyone was up next. So
okay,
head over to Gun Channels, check out the cave, join in the fun.
Right on. I appreciate Dead Horse for encouraging people to thumb it up. The reason we do that is twofold. I figure the higher the percentage of thumbs we get on a live event like this, the more potential they'll push it over to the main page over on YouTube. And it's just an exercise. Remember that as an audience, you're just a tool. You're nothing. You're just a commodity. You're the product. You're a sucker. But if you use that thumb button and you do something out there, you're not audience anymore. Now you are helping to decide what's going to be promoted and what's going to be recommended. Eventually, ultimately, what's going to prosper out here on the internet. So that's one of the reasons we bug people to do it. Not just for our show, but for anything you think is of worth on the internet. Be part of it. Everybody's a Nielsen box out here if you choose to be. And whatever. So that's why we bug with people about that. That's it. Can I quit talking? I'm rambling on here, I think. All
right, well, should we wrap it up with a quote?
Did we go an hour and a half?
I think
horrible. Who are we blaming? Blaming Jimmy and Dan over.
Jimmy.
Yep, definitely.
Damn it. We have a quote. We don't have a quote.
All right, well, we'll do a quote. I got a quote. Oh. What about...
Can girls do quotes?
They certainly can.
I think so.
Be like
Isn't that what Instagram is? Just girls and quotes?
That would be Twitter.
Oh, okay. Well...
No, I see all the Instagram stuff, like treat every day like a sunshine flower.
Oh,
yeah, something from
that
the
kind of stuff all the time.
Okay.
All right, well, quote, spice up your life. Spice Girls, 1996.
See?
Like, share, subscribe.
Yeah, like, share, subscribe. Oh, shit.
Guys and gals. details of gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching gunwebsites.com.